Hello everyone, Bubble Ninja 720 here, bringing you the post episode of my Doom Eternal playthrough. What I promised you guys, reading all the lore. So you get to sit and listen to my melodious dulcet tones. Of course, I'm doing this right after just beating the game. I am still sweating. I'm still hoarse feeling. My throat is a little raw. But we're just going to go ahead and do that. Codex, eh? The Story of Earth. Remaining Human Populations, Part 1. Vega Data Entry. Nearly 60% of the planet has been consumed by the demons, with the rate of expansion increasing each day. Oh no. Here we go. The majority of the world population died in the first month of the Hell invasion, following the catastrophic failure of virtually every man-made system. Military response was immediate, but only marginally effective at providing safe retreat to civilians, with many fortified locations cut off from outside communication. Facing overwhelming opposition, these makeshift fortresses have gradually fallen to the growing demon presence one after the other. Large portions of the Earth's surface have become uninhabitable, with swarms of demons scouting the globe and most regions suffering from an atmosphere that has become infected and poisonous by process of some form of alien terraformation. View image. Ooh, the U.S. is borked hard. Alright. Vega Data Entry, Remaining Human Populations, Part 2. Although several 100,000 more were safely evacuated out of orbit in the mass exodus following the invasion, the expected odds of survival is considered unlikely for many of these lifeboats carrying cryogenically frozen passengers. Religious iconography and communes are now commonplace amongst survivors, with the collective perception of events taking on a biblical nature. Many seek authority from a higher power to rationalize the sudden destruction of their world, believing these events represent a form of divine punishment. Oh, that's still the same picture. Okay. Formation of the Ark. Following the total collapse of international civilization, nations and boundaries as we know them have ceased to exist. A handful of remaining bureaucrats, government officials, and military leaders have managed to survive by use of protective bunkers kept secret to the greater population. Convening under the flag of the Allied Nations, this governing body represents all that remains of the rule of law, forming what would essentially become a single world government. Oh well, he finally had a single rule. All it took was hell on earth for it to happen. We all came together for the same cause, eh? Military bases and communication with the AN have made efforts to regroup and centralize their areas of command, establishing fortified safe havens for survivors, stockpiling food, and scavenging for supplies. Only proprietary military use communications remain functional, enabling military entities under command of the Allied nations to coordinate humanitarian aid and defense operations. By 2151, the formation of the Ark has taken highest priority and is considered to be, in all practical terms, the last hope for humanity. Cultist Base. Led by the elusive hell priest, Deg Ranak, the cultists operate from a remote facility located in the Arctic tundra. As overseer, Ranak exerts absolute control over the facility and its legion of possessed acolytes. Instrumental in sowing the seeds of the cultist uprising, Ranak worked briefly with Olivia Pierce at the Mars facility before departing to Earth with orders to prepare the groundwork for the imminent Hell invasion. That's why we saw that statue of Olivia. A recent declassified UAC biography for Ranak indicates that he is a surviving member of the original Order of the Dig, the ancient Argenta clerics. He now serves the forces of Hell and is rumored to have personal knowledge of the Doomslayer, suggesting a shared history between the two. Wielding total power over the cultists under his supervision, he uses his growing influence to advance the consumption and corruption of Earth. Built over the ruins of an ancient Argentine settlement, the cultist facility has been designed as both a Gothic monument to the ancient architecture and a state-of-the-art science facility. Tablets and memory banks found at the settlement indicate that the Order of the Dig discovered Earth millennia ago and found it to be populated with powerful primeval beasts. They named these creatures Agadons due to their similarity to the mythic cyclopean creature from Argentina's past, the Agadian. Huh. The Doom Hunter Base. Oh man, this is really gonna mess with my throat. I'm gonna have to do some drinking periodically through this. Please put up with that. Thank you. The UAC's Polar Cultist facility is built around the ruins of an ancient Argenta settlement constructed over 60 million years ago. During Argentinore's extraterrestrial expansion, frozen carcasses of the Agadon hunters have been located in the glacial wastes surrounding the complex. And though their DNA structure reveals them to be indigenous to Earth, there is no fossilized record of these creatures beyond the frozen territories of the Argenta settlement. Carbon dating of the remarkably well-preserved beasts suggests they are nearly 80 million years old, predating all other known forms of all other complex Earth-based life. Continuing the cyber-demonic experimentation that began on Mars. That's a mouthful. Cultists studied the Agadon's potential for resurrection and cyber augmentation. A similar program occurred at the location millennia ago when Dig priests, often cited as Hell priests, bred the creatures and genetically modified them to function as Doom Hunters, fearsome mutants designed to battle the Doomslayer and his Night Sentinels during the unholy crusades on Argentinore. Sentinel records corroborate this through their military texts, with many reports of these creatures among the ranks of the demonic forces assaulting the armies of the North during the Argenta Civil War. These are actually pretty interesting. Once the UAC cultist movement publicly announced its intentions for Earth, the cyber demonic program was revealed to be focused on updating the Doom Hunter schematics, upgrading their combat prowess. A new assembly center was constructed near the cultist facility, and a powerful grav tram allowed UAC workers to safely transport the biological and mechanical components needed for the process. The resurrection of an Agadon hunter requires cutting-edge technology be used in conjunction with occult rituals conducted by the USC's necrosurgeons, an unholy fusion of science and sorcery. The Hellgrowth, Part 1. That's that fleshy, nasty, gooey stuff that was on Earth. The Hellgrowth formations on Earth have undergone great scrutiny by experts at the Allied nations. These cancer-like growths exhibit alarming cellular reproduction rates, outpacing any biological life form previously known. Their structural pattern is chaotic, almost random, with only one identifiable constant, the emergence of totem-like nests, which, at full maturity, resonate with powerful electromagnetic frequencies capable of producing a form of inverse quantum field. These fields, once activated, result in the fabrication of hell portals, tears in space-time which serve as gateways between dimensions. Oh, and it also kind of looks like the shit that you see on the Ishimura and stuff for Dead Space. Hellgrowth Part 2. The growth exhibits certain predetermined qualities. In the consumption of our ecosystem, it creates environmental conditions more conducive for its own continued formation. In effect, employing an organic method of terraformation. The resulting environment is hostile to terrestrial life, producing atmospheric toxins and a multitude of environmental hazards. Although it is understood... I didn't hit the button for some weird reason. What? Although it is understood that the growth accelerates the arrival of demon life on Earth, it is not clear how the growths themselves originated, or whether there was some sort of catalyst that created the conditions necessary for their existence. It is believed that if the source of the growths can be identified, there may be a means of uprooting the entire formation. That's why. It's not a really big thing. That's why I kept closing out. Sorry, I'm saying that's why and stuff. I'm just kind of trying to process the fact that I beat this game and, reading this stuff too. Super Gore Nest. File report. Number ARC-AAR-CO37 //ComSec : red / analyst : T Washington -043 / report starts. Operation Lock AAR follows. Following reports of the UAC cultist presence at the Lock reactor, ARC, whatever that stuff is. I'm not reading the rest of that, those serial codes. I was just digging around there. Recon teams Infill Gamma and Infill Hector attempted to gain entry to Lock and assess the situation. Their final transmission indicated a massive demonic presence entering the reactor facility through continuum gates, hell portals. An emergency global council meeting approved an immediate ARC response to the situation at the Lock reactor. The assembled coalition strike force included 4 U.S. battle mech divisions, the Conure, I'm guessing that's European, long-range naval artillery barrage fleet, 27 U.S. Nightbird Apaches, 3 NATO shock troop battalions, 2 European rapid response levy tank divisions, and 18,000 coalition special forces units. That is a huge contingency, and you guys got wrecked. Wow, that was... You can tell my voice is shot. 2 boss fights in a day will do it to you. Ugh. The initial bombardment from the LRNAB was met with immediate response from invasion forces. An estimated 8,000 DP-013G units, gargoyles, attacked the fleet, sinking 32 vessels and disabling a further 78% of the rest. Wow, it took 8,000, only 8,000 of those guys? Eh. The remaining ships retreated to a position approximately 32 miles offshore, beyond the reach of the gargoyles, but also out of artillery range. With the fleet out of action, the battle mechs and Apaches initiated a danger close salvo against the reactor. As shock troops and special forces attempted the rearward infiltration, several platoons made it inside the reactor, where the demons had already established a super gore nest. Although gore nests have been reported at various invasion sites, this was the largest so far observed. The nest has been built around the reactor core itself. Several thousand IFF beacons are amassed at this nest location, suggesting the demons are using our fallen forces as part of their bioorganic continuum gate. At the time of writing, the DP-136 nest is considered, or Super Gore nest, is considered to be ground zero of the invading force. Unless the continuum gate is destroyed, this analyst sees no way to stem the influx of aggressors. Recommend response, TNA, total nuclear annihilation. Not tits and ass. Report ends. The return of Dr. Samuel Hayden, Part 1. The destruction of the Argent Wellspring on Mars meant chaos for planet Earth. Following the loss of communication between the Earth and Mars-based facilities, the collapse of the Argent-dependent energy grid consumed the planet in crisis. Yeah. It was during this time that UAC Director Samuel Hayden suddenly resurfaced on Earth before the AN Council, wielding what which might offer salvation to mankind, the Crucible. After recounting the events that had transpired on the Red Planet, Hayden agreed to cooperate with the AN, providing access to the various UAC facilities on Earth and, by extension, the full range of technologies at his disposal. Paramount among these was the Crucible, the last remaining source of Argent energy in existence. Oh, these actually do have fucking pictures on them. Together we survive. Cool. All right. These are kind of nice. Ew. That was actually really gross. Same with that. Oh, wow. It's like Mech Warrior with demons. That's kind of cool. That just shows how massive Hayden was compared to regular humans. All right. Did I read this one? Yep, I did. All right. The Return of Dr. Samuel Hayden, Part 2. Believing it possible to solve the energy crisis which now has devastated the planet, Dr. Hayden sought to invent a method of Argent synthesis, a synthetic replication that could recreate the high-yield capability of Argent energy. With the destruction of the Argent energy across the solar system, all that remained of Argent existed now within the Crucible, the fabled Hell artifact which Dr. Hayden had acquired on Mars. Knowing full well the Crucible's hidden power, Samuel devised a method to utilize the artifact as an Argent conductor, a process that would in time produce the miracle of synthetic man-made Argent energy, restoring the production of Argent energy to Earth. Hayden became a mythical figure among Earth's survivors, in no small part due to his abnormal physical condition. Having returned to Earth when most sought a means to escape, bringing with him the Crucible that would grant the people a second chance at survival, for the common person he had become the stuff of legends. Yeah. Power-hungry bitch. The Ark, Part 1. I need another drink. Crapples. I probably should have done this along while I was playing. The Ark Part 1, a global military crisis relief initiative established by the Allied Nations in 2151. The Armored Response Coalition, or ARC for short, is designed with the sole purpose to combat and contain the Hell invasion. To succeed where modern militaries are ineffective, utilizing cutting-edge Argent-powered technologies. Hayden, overseeing all aspects of ARC, weapon, and tech development, set out repurposing the UAC facilities on Earth, many of which were unaffected by the invasion due to their remote locations and high levels of automated security. These facilities, operated by powerful AI, are already designed for weapon development and mass production, meaning they could be repurposed overnight. So they made mechs. That didn't work. Excuse me. Woof. Ooh, that tasted like pumpkin pie. Tasty. I know that's gross for you guys, but... Ghosts of meals past. The Ark, Part 2. By 2151, the Ark began running operations from the Mobile Command Carrier, a seaborne command center designed for long-range strike operations, which would serve as Ark HQ. Their primary objective, to locate the source of the Hellgrowth infestation, and in doing so, shutting down the emergence of Hell portals and closing the gate between dimensions. At the heart of the Armored Response Coalition is an aggressive research and development program in pursuit of new military technologies. As part of Dr. Hayden's commitment, UAC resources under his direction, including some of the most powerful AI ever created, have been deployed in service of weapon development designed to face the hell threat head on. Which is probably also where they got that BFG 10,000. Ooh, that ship looks amazing. I like that. I want one. Samuel Hayden. In 2150, following the loss of communication between Earth and Mars-based facilities, UAC Director Samuel Hayden suddenly resurfaced on Earth before the UAN Council. The demonic invasion of Earth had already begun, and Dr. Hayden had arrived just in time to provide aid. He supplied the resistance armies with Argent technology and advanced armaments, taking helm of the newly formed ARC as lead director. Dr. Hayden's tactical and scientific acumen were invaluable to the war effort, and he was soon given full command over all resistance efforts by the Global Council. The ARC engaged the demons with bleeding-edge tech, exosuits, and heavy-frame battle mechs, but found themselves fighting a losing battle. Operation Hellbreaker was Samuel's final plan, a powerful counterattack that ultimately ended in failure. His robotic torso retrieved by ARC soldiers, Samuel is now tended to and monitored by a skeleton crew of scientists. They had been given contingency orders to safeguard his body along with the crucible obtained on Mars. That crucible is a pretty nice looking sword, too. And you took it from me! Good thing I got another one back. And I still don't trust Sammy boy! Sitting on my Fortress of Doom, taking over for Vega. Little bastard. I miss Vega. I want my Vega back. BFG 10,000, speak of the devil. Originally established as a mining and communication relay, the UAC outpost on Phobos began immediate expansion following the destruction of the Argent facility on Mars. Oh, that was the Phobos facility. That brings back some retro memories. Phobos and Deimos from regular Doom. Where'd I leave off? The UAC Board of Directors, intent on retaining their monopoly of the Red Planet and its surrounding airspace, issued the construction of an expansive defense platform. Yeah. Using technology derived from the BFG 9000, the design plan called for a massive particle cannon that could be built on the orbiting moon. The BFG 10,000. It's over 10,000! The largest man-made weapon platform ever conceived, wielded enough power to defend against even the most sophisticated of capital-grade FTL cruisers in existence. For the Lost Cruisers? Or against the eventual potentiality of spacebound demonic threat. Or as a mode of transportation for Doom Guy. Yeah, they used the giant gun. Well, they used my BFG 9000 to power that giant gun. Final Sin. The icon's presence warps reality, damaging the implicate order of our dimension merely by existing within it. If the icon is allowed to remain unchecked, it would lead to the total devastation of Earth, followed by a breakdown of space-time around the planet. The resultant black hole will eventually drag our entire universe down, casting it into the mouth of hell as conquest to be absorbed by the Dark Realm. The Con Maker had taken measures to augment the Titan, installing Maker technology throughout its structure to ensure it could be controlled. With the ritual interrupted, the icon is now fully unleashed, raging across Earth until hell consumes all. No longer bound by the heart of the betrayer's son, the icon of sin is free from any measure of control that the Makers might have once conceived. Only the Slayer, prophesied by in Argenta legend to stand against the icon, can stop this apocalypse. That was the heart was the thing that I stabbed. Oh. Interesting. Art broadcast log 1. There are reports coming out of the quarantine hellified zone near the San Andreas Chasm. Satellite imagery shows the ARC personnel believed to be the legendary Doomslayer himself fighting a mortally challenged. The Doomslayer, or Doom Guy as he is sometimes referred to, was thought to be a myth of the Resistance, a sort of avenging angel. He was last reported to be seen on Mars and is allegedly responsible for the destruction of the Argent Tower there. He disappeared soon afterwards, because of Hayden. I don't even know how... Oh! By the way, that was another thing that I didn't like about this. The storyline was kind of weird. I'm going to pause it right here. The transition between Doom 2016 and this one doesn't explain what happened to Doom Guy in between. It just pops up out of nowhere. That was kind of a disjointed, discombobulated and confusing mess, in my opinion. Could have used a little bit of a bridger. Now, if there is a bridger, let me know so I can go ahead and consume that lore, because I love lore. I love this stuff. Where was I at? The UAC continues to deny all reports of his existence. We will continue to broadcast new information as we receive it. ARC Broadcast Log 2. This is an ARC broadcast to any ARC personnel for survivors operating inside the hellified zones. Please be advised. More Doomslayer sightings have been coming in. ARC leadership do not recommend any attempts to communicate with the Slayer directly. Please avoid all contact with Doom Guy at this time. He will just walk away and give you the cold shoulder silent treatment. While it is clear that the Slayer is an enemy of the challenge, it is unclear if he could also be a threat to civilians. Oh, fuck you! ARC Broadcast Log 3. The worst thing Doom Guy did was kind of slightly choke a guy while he was borrowing his keycard so he can get through. This is the Resistance Network, and in an unbelievable turn of events, the Super Nest has been destroyed. Reports from ARC personnel in the field say that they have seen a significant decrease in demonic activity across the globe. Many believe this is proof that Doomslayer himself has in fact joined the Resistance effort and has successfully eliminated key figures within the ranks of the challenged. Operatives working inside the UAC cultist organization claimed that the leader of that division, Priest Dig Ranek, was in fact removed from his office recently by the Slayer himself. As key leadership within the Mortally Challenge continued to fall, we are seeing a decreased threat from the demons on all fronts. This has given the Resistance a key advantage in the war for Earth. The UAC continues to deny any knowledge of his existence. As surviving members of the ARC network, it is the belief that that these reports are in fact true. We believe the Slayer has joined us in the battle against the demons. To anyone still listening to this broadcast, know that there is hope and he is out there. Oop, no. No! Okay. Alright. He is out there. Yes. ARC Broadcast Log 4. This is an ARC broadcast. ARC personnel have reported that Slayer made his way to the Slayer had made his way to Dr. Hayden's tower and has retrieved his remains. We do not know why. Unnamed sources inside the organization claim that Dr. Hayden anticipated the Slayer's arrival. We only hope that this is true and that the Resistance can continue. Log 5 for ARC Broadcast. This is the Resistance Network, broadcasting live from inside the Arctic Safe Zone. There was a Slayer sighting on Phobos. Ugh. Eyewitness reports say that he was spotted inside a command center and then proceeded to fight his way through the Mortally Challenge and onto the deck of the BHG 10,000. This can't be confirmed, but many believe it was the Slayer himself who destroyed Mars in an attempt to stop the challenge from further advancing their position on Earth. We will post more information as it comes in. This is an ARC broadcast. Oh, I didn't get everything? Darn. Found in the ARC complex. Oops. I'm going to have to go back and get that one. Attention! This is an emergency broadcast from the ARC Resistance. Numerous reports from survivor cells across the globe are confirming that at some time within the past 24 hours, the demonic invaders have begun amassing in swarms near gore nests. ARC scientists have theorized that this behavior is indicative of the arrival of a super predator, a world eater. ARC personnel advise all survivors remain in the safe zones. I'll come back when I'll catch these missing pieces and I'll read them. And another thing, I'll just piece them together later. Dr. Elena Richardson, log 2. Oh, it was the log 1 that I'm missing, I bet. Yeah, because I start with log 2. This is Dr. Elena Richardson, log entry 005. Subject analysis of Doomslayer, February 2nd, 2163. Maybe he is a god. Maybe he represents humankind's rage. Their will to persevere, to overcome that which would threaten our survival. He is uncompromising, a relentless being of violence that knows no mention of the hesitation shown by our many leaders and politicians during our time of judgment. Can he overcome them alone? And if he can't, we as a species, all species will not survive. This is Dr. Elena Richardson, log entry 006, February 9th, 2163. The only thing they fear is him. We watched as the Horde overwhelmed the very best and most advanced machinery and weapons technology that we could muster against the opposition. It was useless. They moved too quickly. They cared not for themselves, only sought out the blood of humanity. They were willing to sacrifice their own to get to the heart of our world. We slaughtered thousands and millions more followed, but then he came. He cut through them like a sickle through a field, his fury surpassing their own. He is faster and more relentless. I believe him now to be more than just a man. He is Doom. Dr. Elena Richardson, log 4. This is Dr. Elena Richardson, log entry 007, March 3rd, 2163. And with him lies our salvation, for as he gains in strength, so do they fall in numbers. The priests command the armies of the north and south, but he controls the fight. An inner circle of death is where he resides, hunting them at the far at the far reaches of the earth and beyond. I am a believer now. I feel it is in doom that I have faith. The Slayer is the spear that stabs at the heart of our attackers, and those that would seek to harm us should feel warned, for there is only one dominant life form in this universe, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance. All hail the coming of the Destroyer. The Slayer's time is nigh. Alright, that's all for this one, and there were no pictures for these. Story of the Sentinels. Exultia. Translation from the Ligra Soltigenta, Book of Kings. What treachery comes from our darkish selves, driven by greed and want, for I have been deceived by the dig. They came north with I, the priest, as allies to our cause against the Khan Maker and her unscrupulous methods. Their silvery tongues wagging, they laid a plan for us and sowed the seed of desire for hasty triumph. They claimed knowledge of the Maker's source of power in the demon realm, a vast foundry of souls where the innocent are put to the fire for their essence. In the foundry's destruction, our victory was assured, they told us, and the fools that we were, that I am, believed their lies. On their word, we sent the Doomslayer and the Night Sentinels to destroy the foundry, and the priests cast a gate for their egress. As the last veteran entered the demon's empire, our final hope of reclaiming our dominion, the dig, closed the path and left them stranded. They were trapped, lost in the eternal void by the actions of the traitors. How could I not see their intention? Am I blinded by grief for the loss of Terras Nabad, of my people? We have fled again, with barely a legion of the Night Sentinels left to protect us. The dig are gone, returned to their mistress. May the wraiths forgive my failure. Ooh. The Wolf. Vega entry. Argenta legends speak of sentinel beasts, loyal creatures that lived as companions of the hardened warriors. Often larger, swifter, stronger than others of their kind, these animals shared instincts with their masters and aided them in battle. The Night Sentinels never shared publicly the origin of these creatures, for only they stood worthy of them. King Novik. King Novik ruled over Sentinel Prime for many years as its warrior patriarch, ordained protector of the sovereign Sentinel worlds. The Sentinel people, defined by a legacy of war, deem only those of warrior caste befit to rule. And in times of battle, it is expected the king lead from the battlefield rather than from the safety of the throne. As it is written in Sentinel law, a king unfit to battle unfit for battle is likewise unfit to rule. There we go. For millennia, the Sentinel people have secured their civilization against the threat of invasion from beast and human alike, passing on the mantle of battle to each subsequent generation, or refining the craft of war into an art of ultimate mastery. Even in times of peace, the Night Sentinels remain vigilant, developing new technologies of conquest, each the more capable of securing their dominion across the sovereign worlds. There's no picture. The Betrayer. View image. Ooh, he's got a hammer. Why couldn't I have a hammer? Concussive force. Alright. After years of prolonged war against the demonic threat invading their world, Argent Denur launched an offensive strike across dimensions, sending their greatest warriors into the heart of hell itself. Despite their training and their preparedness, their honor was undone by deceit. Betrayal at the highest levels of command left Argent Denur bravest warriors cut off and scattered in the hellscape. But of these last remaining Night Sentinels, only one remained in hell by choice, Betrayer of the Argenta. It was Commander Valen who relinquished the keys to the elemental sepulchre in return for his son's resurrection. Haunted by demonic visions, the image of his son's tortured existence plagued him without relent. The whispers of demons pushing him towards madness. In a moment of weakness, he fell prey to the demon's trickery, sealing the fate of Argent Denur and dooming the kingdom to which he swore a lifelong oath to protect. Valen chose exile in the hellscape for his sacrilege. The Fortress of Doom. Drinky drink. I'm going to empty this bottle soon. The Fortress of Doom is a command station used by the Sentinels for military operations. ESR dating suggests the structure was built during the reign of King Danik, and spectral analysis of the Sentinel energy signature used to power the various systems confirms this theory. While the rock and metal structure of the vessel is undoubtedly Argenta design, the castle's subsystems, navigation, gravitational centrifuge, life support are of Maker origin, suggesting a design collaboration between the two species. Propulsion is notably absent as it is not required. The fortress manipulates space through an unknown process involving Sentinel energy. However, there's no indication that any of the systems were designed for Maker use. The accessways, control panels, and living quarters have all been designed for Argenta dimensions, so it can be assumed that the massive structure was made exclusively for Argenta warfare, likely as a flag station of the Night Sentinels' military forces. We have records of the Night Sentinels visiting many inhabited planets in their local quadrant. The extent of their empire is still being researched, and this fortress is likely a remnant of what was once much of a larger fleet. Ooh, that is pretty. The lost city of Hebeth. Amidst the long and enduring history of Sentinel civilization, there are moments in antiquity that have become buried in time, forgotten chapters that remain concealed to Sentinel historians, waiting to be unearthed. The fallen city of Hebeth is one such tale, all but forgotten to the tomes of legacies past. Once a prosperous port city, a proud gleaming marker of conquest for the distant tribe of Bethian clansmen of the Outer Worlds. Hebeth bridged the disparate Sentinel cities with the ingenious design of slipgate invention. But it was not meant to last, and among those cities lost in the crusades of Sentinel past was Hebeth, now little more than a smoldering ruin swallowed by the quaking surface of a once habitable Mars. Sentinel Prime. The ancient arena is a holy place for the people of Argentinur. Constructed in the earliest days of their history, this Colosseum served as a proving ground for trial by combat. Historical records indicate that the Argentans did not jail their own kind. Rather, prisoners and criminals were granted the right to earn their chance at regaining honor through victory in the arena. Those who succeeded were given a place to fight in the front lines of the Sentinel army, to die in service of Argentinur. This traditional use of the arena has subsided since the assimilation with the Dark Realm. The corrupted priests now allow more violent exchanges with armed captives pitted against demons for sport. The priests of the Order Dig continue to hold undisputed power on Argentinur. Spilling the blood of the Argent Ascended class will result in the transgressor's banishment. Asylum amongst the Argenta will be denied to any who do not adhere to the rules of engagement. That's what happened to me when I killed that Hell Priest. Terras Nabad. The city of Terras Nabad was the crown jewel of Argentinur. For centuries it served as the spiritual heart of Argent society, home to both the royal family and the center of political power. No expense was spared in the building of the city. With bold, colonnaded architecture and towering monuments to gods and kings resplendent on every avenue, rural Argenta flocked to Terras Nabad on pilgrimage to the Maker temples. The city was ground zero of a massive demonic invasion attempt, and although the invasion was thwarted, the attack changed Argenta society forever. Ooh, pretty. The Divinity Machine. Within the infinite conscious matrix of the all-seeing Maker God mind, there exists every potentiality, every predictable variable of possible future timeline, each one known to the Maker Collective with omniscience and inextricable clarity. The God mind surveys these timelines, watching them form and expand exponentially like fractal patterns in the fabric of existence. Among these infinite possibilities, only one constant appears among them, unchanged by the flowing data of endless variability, that of the prophesied destroyer, the one who would bring about the destruction of the Makers. That would be me. That's a lot of Sentinel history. There's 7 of these. Oh. Oh, that looks kind of cool. The giant spike through the planet. History of the Sentinels, Part 1. Translation from the Liber Soltigenta, Book of the Kings. In the days before man first spoke, an immense shard of rock and metal was cast into the world from the heavens. Thunder and cataclysm shook the land as the skies were torn asunder. The cosmic spear cleft a hole through our mortal lands, pole to pole, from the cold wastes to the umbral plains to the umbral plains to the fetid swamps of Iron Fang. The womb of the world opened in the elemental race, the firstborn. Oh, the firstborn. Where's that at? Spilled forth. They took to the skies, fierce of their emancipation. In their exultation, they brought vitality to the land, and all that felt their breath were awakened from the eternal slumber. Fierce beasts and an unforgiving biosphere rose in the passing of their shadow as the wraith call echoed across Argentinur. First came the ancestrals, feral creatures invigorated by the magic of the race. They grew to enormous heights, mighty behemoths who waged war with each other for years untold. Their battles tore the land asunder and destroyed all creation caught in their wake. The wraith call continued to spread across the land, and soon the Argenta emerged from the steppes, our souls stirred into form by the power of their breath. The Titans towered over the wild-blooded tribes, but found them uncowed. The secret of the sword was discovered, and in the darkness of sweltering mountain forges we beat steel until it was strong enough to pierce bone and sever flesh. Thus we came to be, born of rock and fire, lowly in birth, but risen by the strength of our will. By the blessedness of the first ones, we forged sword and shield and took the hammer to the ancestrals. We claimed dominion of creation by right of blood and magic, and the time of man came to be. And the ancestral beasts, with the ancestral beasts driven back to their bleak valleys, we rose. We tilled the fertile land, husbanded beasts of burden, and built towering cities. In the hallowed palace on the obsidian throne, we crowned King Ormera the Father, the first of the line that shall reign in perpetuity. We built the Cathedral of Reflection to worship the first ones and formed the Order of the Dig, whose priests pay tribute to the race and appease their tempestuous hunger. Our sons and daughters chose the path of the sword or the path of the alchemist, for each duty honors the gods. Oh, man. It's getting to the point where this water's not cutting it. Probably have to break this apart. Though our ways were righteous, we were not without strife. Storms and great quakes cast our spires down. Barbaric tribes laid siege to our fields in search of the great gifts Mother Argenta had bestowed upon our world, and the song of the wraith call threatened to drive lesser men into madness. We were not lesser men. We defended that which the first ones gifted to us, our lands and right to the bounty held within. We beat back the barbarian hordes and hardened our resolve. We rose above the fire, our bodies and souls tempered, and an unbreakable will was shaped in the forge of battle. What emerged was the heart of our legion, the Order of the Night Sentinels. Oh yeah, I already looked at that. The Makers. In the time of grief, when King Etrix took the throne, a blessing came to the people of Argenta. White porcelain beings from a world above our own brought gifts to Janur. Observers to our great deeds, admirers of our convictions, they sought to make bond with our swords and bring lasting order to our world. These were beings unlike any we had seen before. Sword and shield held no weight against them, for the ethereal flesh of these luminous beings seemed unbound by mortality. Able to move through time and space, they held sway over all dominions of the known and unknown dimensions. Through their ways, we grew stronger, our society bolstered by their infinite wisdom and all-knowing power. Assuring our people's safety for all time, in this world and the next, where we sharpened the blade and mastered our magic. They bolstered the soul and spirit. Death would no longer be the end of our people. The ones we call the Makers, our new allies in this brutal world, have given us the security in death we fought so hard to achieve in life. We would find eternal peace, and our minds would rest easy with the knowledge that those we fought alongside in battle would join us in the lands beyond the mortal plane. The strength of our ways, the purity of our essence, would by Maker Law grant us passage to the great city in the clouds. There our women and children, warriors and kin alike would welcome us. We adopted the holy doctrines of the Makers, gifted in exchange with the chance to earn eternal rest for our immortal souls in blessed Urdek. The covenant we held now under the embrace of our new gods fostered a peace we hadn't ever known. For they were unlike the first ones, whose presence offered no paradise from fear and the uncertainty of existence in a harsh and unforgiving world. The Maker's embrace was warm and guided us into an era of spiritual prosperity. Oh yeah. All right. History of the Sentinels, Part 3. With machine and enchantment of the makers, the Argenta brought our newfound clarity to the disparate realms of the Empyrean Void. We took flight with the support of our gods, spreading the enlightened word of the Khan Maker. We discovered there was not one enemy, but many. Worlds and peoples unknown to the Argenta were unveiled, and we saw our own suffering reflected in their eyes. Our righteous armies strode into battle under the banner of the Night Sentinels and fought for the freedom of all peoples from the grasp of those who would exploit and prey upon them. Though we battled on soil not our own, the blood we shed in foreign lands safeguarded Argent Nur and the sons and daughters that defended it. Through the strange peoples we liberated, new alliances were formed, and our beliefs became their own. Our armies swelled. Sons and daughters? I've only seen male sentinels, though. As the Argenta traversed the stars with gleaming war fleets, the Khan of the Makers approached King Roan on his throne. Not do that. He sensed his god restless by her disquiet manner. The king and Khan spoke, and the god revealed she had foreseen a schism in the blood of the Argenta. A test would be required to identify its host among us. She spoke of a holy rite to be performed on the strongest of our warriors. Only those that proved worthy would be tested, for the impurity could reside in only the most resilient of our legion. The divinity machine, a great tribute by Maker scholars, would help us to cleanse any impurities from our flock, ensuring our continued prosperity in this world and in the Maker realm that awaited in the afterlife. The malicious one, if not exhumed from our ranks, would jeopardize our safe passage to the heavenly realm of Verdak. The Dark One was not amongst them yet, nor would he be for many generations. Only the Mother God, through divination and Maker sight, would determine when he stood before them. The Makers were truth, and only their unclouded eyes could find the one who was marked. The prophecy of the Unholy One was written, but through the ages the warning grew faint, until only the Khan Maker herself and the High Priest of the Order Dig still whispered of he that would one day come to threaten their way of light. In the time of King Novik, as the Argenta secured peace and safety through dimensions across time and space, an outlander came to us. He was not of our world, and spoke an ugly tongue. How he first took step upon our land was unknown. Sentinel scouts had found the outlander bloodied, clawed, and near death, mumbling of impending doom and the forces of darkness. The scent of blood followed him, and the gore that stained his armor seemed not entirely his own. By Argenta law, the stranger would be judged in the Colosseum, where he would be given the chance of all who stray from the path to fight for his freedom. We knew not of this stranger. His mind seemed crippled with rage. He dressed in attire not suited for our lands, and carried munition of arcane origin. We watched as his will overcame his injuries, and in the blood arena he proved his worth. The Outlander's technique was crude and brutal, but the determination in his charge echoed that of any true-born sentinel. His war cry echoed through the Colosseum, as did the sound of his fury, and the guards cheered his banner. Rip and tear, they shouted, as the beast pushed beyond mortal wounds and certain death. He would be gifted no rank, no title. The survivors in the arena were provided only one reward, the right to earn an honorable death while spreading the blessings of the Makers to those in need. The Outlander's determination was witnessed, his ravings documented, and through the word of the Order Dig and the Khan Maker had him brought before her. She set her minions to learning his tongue, for with his ugly words he spoke of lands unseen, creatures born of fire and a dark place unknown to the queen and her caste. Yet another opportunity to expand the gift of the Makers to those in need. Oh, Doom Guy. On the eve of the Black Star, History of the Sentinels, Part 5. On the eve of the Black Star, the Dark Ones came from a world beneath our own, not through ship nor ephemeral vessel, but through the fabric of dimensions. Out of swirling, fiery gates came horned beasts from a timeless realm. First one, then many. Crashing waves of evil swelled from the obsidian forests of the Argentian overlands. The Elarim clans from the eastern mountains fell first to the black hordes of devils, and the city of Telerum was slung under the weight of their charge. We sentinels rose to meet the beasts with spear in hand, the might of the holy fleet striking back at the demons, but the dark gates from whence they came gave birth still to even greater hordes. A line of blood was drawn with the fallen of both sides, and the unholy wars began as the time of darkness came upon us. Those look familiar. History of the Sentinels, Part 6. Unlike enemies of the past, we could not contain the demons emergent from the Dark Realm. Their weaponry was not conjured from machine steel, but from the essence of their very being. A dark magic not known to us in our many conquests. Had we grown overconfident, our victories serving to dull our blade as we drank in the glory of our expanding empire? Lost, we knew not of how to prevail against this foe. The Maker Gods stood perplexed, and our engineers and priests scrambled to find the advantage of battle we so desperately needed. Unknown to the enemy, we were pushed to the brink of defeat, and our gods stood with us as we worked to find the answer. The Order of the Dig were the first to unlock the mystery of these foul creatures. The priests were able to capture several of the beasts and set about to identify the source of their power. It was then that the essence of the Dark Realm was discovered, not wholly unlike our own. This power was the life essence that flowed through their twisted form and empowered their attacks. It could be harnessed to power our own weapons, giving the Argenta the chance to combat the demons on even footing. The priests believed that with greater knowledge of the essence, we could discover its source and cut it off from demons to strangle their armies from within, allowing us to regain the advantage we required for victory on the battlefield. The Khan Maker gave blessings to our majesty and directed the priests to delve deeper into the mysteries of the Scarlet Elixir from the demonic realm, for she sought only to return balance to our universe. Proper assimilation was required, as hell stood beyond her influence. After great effort, the priests discovered more than they had ever hoped for. They learned of the true nature of the demonic energy, and how it could strengthen those skilled enough to harness its power. The energy coursing through the malformed bodies of our relentless enemy could be used to end life or to enhance it. The power to heal, to mend immortality, Knowledge and enlightened faculties beyond our understanding. Ugh. With the demon's life force in the skilled hands of the Sentinel priests, and under the righteous gaze of the Khan Maker, our people would not only rise to victory over the unholy horde that clawed at our walls, we would move to a higher plateau of existence, ushering in a new era of military science and industrial healing. No sentinel would grow sick, no maker would need to suffer the transfiguration that they so feared. All would be risen. None could ever oppose our peaceful ways and threaten our world again. True balance over hell and its legions, over space and time, and in this world and all others. We would dictate the order, united with the makers, we would find peace eternal. History of the Sentinels, Part 7. The Khan Maker demanded a tithe of the essence, and driven by her desire, the priests submitted themselves to her will. The Order of the Dig took counsel with the king, speaking only of the spoiled lands sure to be found through the cleft in creation, and the opportunity to purge the new invaders from Argent Denur. We took the ward of their cursed land, pressing through the gates of wizardry. There was one among us who seemed to know the true nature of these foul demons. It was the Outlander, the stranger who had come to us from places unknown. He who had survived in the front lines far longer than any sentinel-born prisoner had before. His passion for battle against the vile horde was evident, his lust for the destruction matching our own, though Argent Denor remained a foreign land to him. His fervor caught the attention of inquisitors of the Sentinel Guard, some whisperings of a suspected allegiance he held in secret with the demons. Silencing the critics, King Novik deemed him worthy of selection. The signifiers brought a commission to our king, and it was decided that he be lifted from the common rabble. Though no arena-born prisoner had ever been granted the honor, the Knight Sentinels broke tradition and deemed the Outlander worthy of training. A number of disciples grumbled and chafed at the barbarian present in their ranks, but in the war with the demons all opportunities for even the slightest advantage was to be considered, and as they witnessed the stranger spar with their hall masters, they found in him an undying, unrelenting compatriot. This man was an outsider, friend to none, and yet rose each time he was thrown to the dirt of the circle. Battered and bruised, his brow stained with blood, he rose with grim determination for the chance to face his enemies in armed combat once again. Time passed as the stranger was instructed in the codified matrices of their order, the ancient lessons of battle and brotherhood taught to all sentinels. He could sense the opportunity before him. Soon all of hell would feel his wrath once again. Satisfied that he would not be a detriment to their prowess, the Knight Sentinels granted him his wish as they ventured through the hell gates with the stranger in tow. They knew no rest, fighting in the unnatural elements and training under the blood moon of night. The strangers suffered exhaustion, wounds, and sickness, but asked for no aid and was offered none. 3 times the Night Sentinels ventured into the gate and back, and upon every return the stranger strode more capable than before. His gait locked in step with the march of the Sentinels, a disciplined and now controlled lust for demon blood ever present. The passing of years and numerous battles with the devils indentured the stranger to Argenta's mightiest warriors, and no longer did they condescend to him as a new-blooded conscript, for to them he had become a brother in arms forged in war, an ally, and a weapon. He left him to have his armor still. History of the Sentinels, Part 8. As we warred with the beast of the Argenta Society grew, under the watchful eye of the Makers and through the endless power of the Essence. While our generals were consumed with the unholy war, our culture was marked by the beautiful potion the enemy had provided us, the sweet elixir. It brought us immeasurable capacity, and empowered us to reach farther into dimensions once thought to be beyond our grasp. Under the direction of our maker gods and the engineering of our high priests, our weapons blazed and our war machines stormed. The throngs of the populace drank deeply from the well of energy, unveiled by the priests, but we of the Night Sentinels took no part in their abundance. Some among us whispered accusations and warnings against their manner of progress, but they were quelled, as it was not our role to dictate the future of our people, only to defend it. History of the Sentinels, Part 9. As the Black Star ascended to its zenith, King Novik sat restless on his throne as a howling darkness began to assemble just beyond the mountain rise to the east. The blight came upon us in droves, flooding forth from the Hellgate with merciless fury. They brought with them a monstrous titan, the Dreadnought, a beast to rival the stature and menace of even the mightiest ancestral. I would have loved to have fought one of these other than just this icon of sin. The grotesque giant laid waste to all before him, crushing all in his path. This was a total demonic assault, striking at the heart of Argentinora as never before. How was it that the behemoth could pass through the demonic gate without warning? We would never know, though the Night Sentinels believed treason was at play. Caught off guard, the Sentinels scrambled late in defiance of the Titan and his horde, and with his coming, the holy city of Taras Nabad prepared for judgment. With the onslaught of the demons massed in the sprawling shadow of the abhorrent fiend, the city shook to its foundation. None were spared save those that fled north. The vile swarm ransacked our temples and palaces, burning our towers and feasting on the souls of our clergy. Yet the Night Sentinels rallied and held fast against the demons, though they were pushed back and corralled by the blood arena. As the dark of night descended, their swords remained potent, and shred the enemy multitude with abandon. Amidst the unyielding ranks of the Sentinels, when all other apprentices had fallen in battle, stood the Outlander. Rip and tear, he roared, ferocious in battle. The remaining conscripts in the arena stood in awe as they witnessed the beast who had once raged within their very cells, now armored alongside the shoulders of his Sentinel brethren. He had risen where none had before, a true-born Sentinel fighter, the very best among them. But though the swarm fell before their assault, the Titan remained invincible, for none could tame the behemoth alone. In the hours before dawn, as the Night Sentinels weathered the relentless assault, the Outlander held his ground at the foot of the great wall in the northern bend of the castle. Seeing his unending vigor, Samir, Chancellor to the Mother God, hurried the Outlander away under the veil of secrecy and, for reasons unknown, submitted him to a rite untold. This was heresy, for Samir received no consent from the Khan Maker, nor did he receive her counsel. In the Chapel of Purity, the Outlander submitted himself to the divinity machine, where there Samir Maker, the seraphim known to us only as the aid to the Mother God, blessed the Outlander with fierce speed and power to match his will. It was the method by which this transfusion took place that was most uncertain to us, for we were of the knowledge that the Maker device bestowed onto the Argenta so many generations ago was to be used by the priests only to find the impurity among us. How could it be that the device that was meant to cull the Sentinel breed of its contaminants could then be used to purify the Outlander's body and give rise to the one who would lead us into battle once henceforth? What rose from the holy coffin on that fateful day was not the impure abomination the Covenant warned us of. The hero within would come to be known only as the Great Slayer, the Time Walker, the warrior Khan whose fire sword would blaze forth a path for the just and cut through the demonic horde with a vengeance that only a god king could summon. He rose unbroken by the ritual, his eyes burning with maker magic. He took the crucible in his hand, and wraith fire leaped forth from the blade, as only it would when held by a true Sentinel warrior king. In our darkest hour, the Slayer had been chosen. Defying tradition, our most sacred laws, and the will of the great Khan herself, a stranger to our lands had been blessed with celestial might. Noise. History of the Sentinels, Part 10. With the coming of the Slayer, the Night Sentinels took the campaign deeper into the heartland of the demons than ever before. Mighty Atlans were brought forth, tearing paths through the hordes of hell alongside the Slayer and his army. The High Priest, under the guidance of the Mother God, had found means to gain entry to the innermost regions of the demon world, and with the Deeg's presence, new gates could be opened. Our war machines were unstoppable, wrought with Maker technology, enhanced by the very essence of our enemies hurled against us as our enemies drove deeper and deeper into the blood-drenched territory of the demons. Countless victories were assured with the power of the Slayer. For the Alpha Interfector, at the fore of our pack, we brought certain doom to our foes. And though our hearts were pure and our purpose righteous, unbeknownst to the fighters of Argenta, in our wake and under the veil of secrecy, the Mother God had set her priests to build vast factories upon the heathen's land, that she might gather the essence for further development. How this deception began we would not know, for our focus remained on the hordes of the underworld. Why then would we stoop so low as to consider our Mother God of betraying our covenant? The Khan Maker did not seem at ease with the unforeseen rise of our Slayer, and the Seraphim who had birthed the Destroyer in secret soon vanished from Urdak, perhaps exiled for his heresy. I wonder who he was. Our legions rose unfettered under the unquenchable rage of the Doomslayer, and his design led the Khan Maker to find profit in his endorsement. It soon became known that the Slayer was the Maker's God machine, a holy relic reborn, sent to bring the Maker's word to the wicked, and to smite those who would seek to harm all who followed the path to Urdak. With the Slayer unwittingly cleaving a path for her, the Mother God siphoned the essence, processing it beyond our knowledge into the field that would become to be known as Argent Energy. The Slayer cared not for polity. He took no interest in the workings of our people, but set his task only on his desire, the destruction of the demons and their world. He no longer spoke for reasons unknown, though it was understood that he still possessed the ability, offering only guttural hefts of anger as he inflicted pain upon his enemies. For years he marched with the Night Sentinels through the fires of the demon lands, and every return to our homeworld found much changed in Argentinor. Should any blame be apportioned to the Sentinels, it is this. In our fervor we were negligent of our people, and did not see the rising tide of evil our crusade empowered. We knew only the enemy laid before us and the wealth of Argenta at our backs, and did not pause to seek the cost and method of this progress. Yeah. History of the Sentinels, Part 11. Translation. Yet as the Slayer and Night Sentinels battled the demonic host, their failure to act outside the confines of their duty allowed the rancor of the essence to grip the Argenta. It was on a mission deep within the boiling seas of the Netherrealm. Mortal Kombat, anyone? You see Scorpion down there? Maybe Shinnok or Quan Chi? Where the Order of the Six reside, that a company of Night Sentinels learned of the Khan Maker's true dealings with the callous beasts. By Maker design, it was kept secret from the Sentinels and Argent people alike that the essence we had grown so reliant on during this war was comprised of the very spirit of our brothers and sisters who'd fallen to these vile creatures. The truth had been uncovered that all beings who found their end by the demonic horde would become a vassal of the hellscape, their flesh in time twisted into the very demons we fight, their souls extracted to create the essence that powered their world, and ours. The victims were the enemy, and the enemy would become us. The soldiers stood in awe at the base of a factory dedicated to such action, a place where the bodies of the slain were sorted and processed, tortured for the mill, and to have their souls extracted through sinister magic. Enormous vats of pain and suffering, ethereal energy, the haunting sounds of lost souls awash in an eternity of servitude, transformed into energy to power our struggle against the dark realm and its malice. But worse than this grim reality was the discovery of the machinery which was used to enact the vile process our fallen had been subjected to. For it was not by hoof and claw that these blasphemous technology had come to pass, but by the hand of the Argenta guided by the Mother God's desires. We had fallen deep within the grasp of the enemy that we had fought against would not what we had fought against would not reveal itself to be true, as without countenance we could hold no sway over the Argenta populace. Regardless, the honor of the Night Sentinels would have to hold up the verity of these claims, and the Mother God could be our divinity no more. In secret corridors and clandestine conference, the Night Sentinels would find those amongst them who similarly distrusted the essence and had foretold the swelling corruption. Once the truth, once the truth could be shared, the skeptics became members of the Sentinel insurrection, and the breach between holy and unholy Argenta began to grow. Oh, that's what the two Titans that were captured that I freed. And there's the Khan Maker in the background. On the left. Sweet, this one's almost done. History of the Sentinels, Part 12. The truth could not be denied. The unholy spires raised in the barren lands functioned by blessing of Maker machinery. The Khan had betrayed Arch-Denor and had made concert with the demons to harvest their essence, in return granting them access to all the worlds under her influence. A symbiotic relationship had formed, and darkness now had been balanced by a light. For where there was heaven, so there would be a hell. The followers would be granted passage to Urdak, and the sinners would fall into the fiery pits of the dark realm. This world would be spread from all cultures and all worlds and in all places. Oh, this word would be spread from all cultures and in all worlds and in all places. Okay. We were not without blame, for it was our people, the priests and sentinel engineers, who'd laid the work in place. Argenta's slaves had built the dark factories, and our own ancient wraith energy helped purify Hell's elixir into the miracle fuel that now powered the Maker's world and our own. The Night Sentinels spoke of the evil brought by the essence and carried their word to all who would listen. We had helped to create this new dichotomy, and so it must be for the Argenta to stop the spread of this pestilence, this new phase of existence, the dark and the light. If not for us, then for the innocent whose worlds have yet to fall under the spell of the Maker God and her unseen allies in the Hell dimension. Who was it that screamed no when I killed the Khan Maker, though? Was it the Icon of Sin? I don't know. Even when the Night Sentinels returned from the demonic realm with tales of slave factories that damned the souls of the innocent, the indoctrinated masses of Argent-Denor took no quarrel with the Makers. They were indebted to the demon essence, the ministers deliberating but finding no basis for change. The messengers were cast down for daring to speak against those who had gifted us so much, our gods. The Makers, in their infinite wisdom, would see fit that the faithful continue life anew in Urdak. They feared the wrath of the Mother God. A lifetime of servitude would not be undone by this insurrection. This was simply another trial, a test of faith to identify those who were truly worthy to experience life eternal in Urdak. The Argenta would not waver in their resolve. The Night Sentinels prepared for war once again, though this battle meant drawing the blood of their own brothers. Our army had seen the work of the demons firsthand and knew its evil. They had returned to the way of the wraiths, and though their armament was diminished without the essence, it remained pure and righteous. A division amongst the Argenta had occurred, one side standing in opposition to the doctrine of the Makers, the other locked in belief. The Ascendant Empire was comprised of the faithful and misled, wielding the desecrated energies of hell, the power of the Makers, and marauders who had sided with the Khan. The Night Sentinels were bolstered by the free people of Argenta, and the mightiest of all killers, the Slayer himself. Plans and tactics were drawn. The Sentinels would close the Argent energy factories in Necroval, that which fed the world of Urdak directly with its supply of fresh essence. They would stop the flow, the slumbering race would wake from their sleep and give Argent-Denor courage. History of the Sentinels, Part 13. For years, the Civil War raged and took its toll on the soldiers as their armor lay stained with the blood of their brothers on a cursed battlefield. Finally, an opportunity to end the war had been discovered by the Order Dig and the Night Sentinels. With the Slayer at the head of their army, they gathered to traverse through the gate and sunder Necroval, the city of the dead. The Order of the Dig, the high priests who had pledged their allegiance long ago to the Night Sentinels, worked in service of our mission. Those holy priests, who had served the Argenta since time immemorial, assured us that the way was clear. A plan was set to march into the accursed walls of Necroval and smite the factory, cutting off the flow of essence to Urdak and denying the Khan Maker of her prize. Our forces took spear in hand and advanced, and it is there that the venom of treachery struck. Upon entry through the Hell Portal, the Night Sentinels were scattered to the winds of unplanned chaos. Our warriors were separated, our ranks split as the gates twisted and hurled them across the unholy realm. Some of our warriors appeared near the gates they had walked before, but found that the vile priests had barred the way back. Then the trap was sprung. and each lone Argenta found himself set upon by bloodthirsty multitudes of demonic beasts. Let it be known that it was not the priests alone who failed the northern armies, but one of the Sentinel's own. Hell found his weakness and exploited it to the demise of Argent-Nur. If not for the betrayer's stroke of madness, the race power would still be our own, and the Sentinel flag would still rise above Argent-Nur to this day. There's the 3 Hell Priests up there. History of the Sentinels, Part 14. Pardon me for yawning. Scattered in hell, abandoned by their clergy and reinforcements, the Sentinels proved their worth in what would be their final war with the forces of all evil. Unrelenting power in the face of certain death, the Sentinels crushed hundreds of demons and skewered titans. When their Atlans held no more fuel, the Sentinels took to the ground and fought the swarms on land. All of hell knew of the betrayal, for it was without question the makers and the priests who had sowed the seeds of deceit long before the brave warriors passed through the gates. What hell saw that day was the beating heart of the free people of Argent-Nur. They did not flinch in the face of their own certain death. They died as they lived, with sword and shield in hand. Urdak too low a place to house such giants. Theirs would be the fate of warrior gods, remembered for all time. Lord Sash, the stalwart banner sergeant, was found with his war standard pierced through the throat of a great beast, his body surrounded by the corpses of enemies. Roan the mighty, the light faded from his eyes, had eviscerated such a multitude that their entrails clung to the black rocks like vines. Gar, restless until the end, had broken his blade on the backs of his foes, and by the time he fell he had slain another 2 score with his hands alone. The priests believed the Sentinels all slain, but we are Argenta, born to overcome. Rumors deemed heretical by the order Dig persist and claim that the Slayer himself still rages in the unholy realm. None who live can know, for the future of Argent-Nur has been bent and twisted by the perverted vision of the essence drinkers. Never again will the light of the race illuminate our world. All has fallen. If the Slayer does live, let him carry our vengeance forward. If he persists, let him wreak violence on those who have wronged us. May the blood of his sword never dry. May his war never end until the guilty have been punished, and may this evil never again spread to shadow over another world. Ho 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 ho. Hey, that's the armor. I think that was in his that was in the Fortress of Doom. Alright, that one's done. Hell Priest. Atop mighty thralls, the Hell Priest oversaw the invasion of the mortal world. The thrall, slave titan of the underworld, carried the priest temples into the wake of battle, providing the priests with vigil of Hell's advance from a strategically impervious emplacement. From their temple perch, the priests would emanate a powerful psionic influence, imposing greater coordination among the chaotic forces of Hell, and increasing their battle effectiveness. The thrall, possessing superior resilience, proved indestructible by conventional weapons, thwarting all attempts by arc defensive forces. Only by severing the priest's psychokinetic tether could the Titan be neutralized, an act that could only be accomplished by an infiltration of the temple itself. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. That's kind of God of War-y. Hell Priests. Powerful practitioners of arcane magics, the priests have warped their powers to suit their insidious purpose, harnessing the dark forces of hellish psychomancy to prepare Earth for the final blood ritual. By blood were the Hell Priests bound to the dark ritual which now consumed Earth, and for so long as even one of them lives, the consumption of Earth would continue, allowing Hell unfettered rule of the mortal world. Only by destroying the priests can the blood ritual be stopped and the Earth saved. Did it. We took all y'all's heads. Doom guy. Dig Nilax. One of the 3 Hell Priests, Dig Nilax, is charged with ensuring that Hell's invasion of Earth succeeds. He prefers to operate on the planet's surface, working in his unholy barge carried on the backs of a demonic titan. This provides him an elevated mobile position with which to oversee the campaign against humanity. Spiteful and cruel, Nilax frequently captures civilians alive so that their still living blood can be harvested for his occult rituals. You looked so much better before, dude. Now you're all twisted. Dig Ranak. Dark Viceroy of the Chaos Throne, Ranak has long served as one of Hell's emissaries on Earth, laying the foundation for the planet's inevitable invasion. In secrecy, Ranak has prepared the Hellgate, awaiting the omen of the 6th seal, that which signals the age of rapture, which will cleanse Earth as foretold by the Maker prophets. Ranak worked closely with Olivia Pierce during the development of the original Mars project, and since her death has taken total control of the UAC. His promises of wealth, power, and everlasting life have corrupted the organization from within, absolving its employees of their moral conscience, accelerating the sacrifice of Earth in exchange for the lure of Argent energy and the promise of undying union with Hell. Digranak previously served the king of Argent Denor as a sentinel priest, guiding the Argenta's spiritual growth as a hallowed figure. After the betrayal, he abandoned his homeworld, working on behalf of the Khan Maker and personally overseeing the transformation of viable planets. Rannoch has constructed a veritable fortress in the polar caps to protect him during his dark work. Huh. Doom Hunter. Once a race of beast-like hunters, the Doom Hunter creature was known to Sentinel warriors in ages past as lethal stalkers of the Metal Age. Extracted from the frozen depths of the polar tundra, the Doom Hunter belongs to an ancient race uncovered during cultist excavation in the remote Arctic. Preserved below the frozen ice for millions of years, the unearthed remains of this creature were deemed suitable for reconstruction, becoming the subject of cultist necro-regenerative bioexperimentation. Within the remote cultist citadel, a high-tech ritual altar which towers over the Golgothan ruins. The Doom Hunter was ceremoniously and systematically resurrected and rebuilt. While the majority of its components are now cybernetic, it retains a high degree of mental faculty, a sentient, brutal hunting instinct, augmented with the armaments of a tank division. Yeah, I hated that thing. But we took it down. All of them. Oops. The Marauder. As civil war consumed Argent Denor, the Night Sentinel's guard was quartered by their faith, torn between serving the Khan Maker or revolting against that which they swore to protect. Those most disillusioned forswore their oath to the Sentinel royalty, abandoning their pact of allegiance made to the throne. These hardened warriors joined the separatist group led by the exalted priest class, allying themselves with the Makers and their devout acolytes in an attempted coup against the Sentinel royal house. Those Sentinel warriors who fell in battle, having sided with the Makers, were ultimately denied finality and death. Resurrected by the divinity machine of Maker design, these fallen Sentinels were returned from the dead, transformed by Hell's power, and recreated with a singular purpose, to hunt the Slayer, now reborn as knights in Hell's army. Oh wow, they looked cool before. Now they're like, erg. Dig Grav. Dig Grav remains the most powerful of the Hell Priests amongst the people of Argent Denur, frequently visiting his ancient homeworld to lord over the populace. Arrogant and pompous, Grav calls for blood sport in the arena to entertain the fallen citizens of Sentinel Prime. Since the demonic invasion of Earth began, he has operated on the planet's surface along with his fellow Hell Priests to direct Hell's forces. But after the deaths of Dig Nilox and Dig Rannoch, he has fled to the safety of the arena. It was Dig Grav who facilitated the torment and eventual betrayal of the Sentinel commander Valen, taking the keys to the sepulchre of elements and opening the vault of the sleeping wraiths. The ancient creatures were abducted, transported to Hell, and tortured to siphon away their power. He used the heart of Valen's son to animate the icon of Sin, a titan still spoken of in legend throughout Argent Denur. You little biscuit. Gladiator. In the years following the end of the Golden Age, competing factions of Argent Denor turned against one another. An insidious influence had beset itself upon the Sentinel people, corrupting its once held sacred traditions. The Colosseum, once a place of honorable combat where prisoners of the Argenta were tested for the right to fight in the front lines of their army, has since become a place of blood sport. In violation of Sentinel law, the priests have encaged a demon there, a merciless executioner used to enact judgment of their own decree. Excuse me. The gladiator, wielding an accursed shield which entombs the tormented soul of his undying master, remains undefeated in battle, infamous for the many lives it has claimed. Tormented soul of its undying master. Well, I destroyed that soul, and I destroyed you, like a minotaur. Necroval, Part 1. The city of Necroval was built in Hell by the combined efforts of the Makers and Sentinel engineers, designed to produce a continuous flow of Argent energy. Constructed of stone and fell steel on a foundation of uncounted corpses, this sprawling fortress funnels a constant stream of victims towards Calabas, the sightless judge. This ancient demon of a rare breed, unable to communicate or move without great difficulty, it exists as an overseer of sorts, awaiting as cages packed with the recently slain are brought before it, determining which souls are candidates for the Argent process. Operating not unlike a large-scale slaughterhouse, Necroval is divided into many sections. The most immediately accessible portions contain the Abaddon Pit, an enormous chasm where victims are herded. Beyond Calabus, the Argent-worthy souls are directed deeper into the Black Fortress. Those who he renders unfit are discarded as waste, their tortured souls thrown into the burning sludge of the blood swamps. I'm guessing the blood swamps was like lava pools. Fuel of the Eternal Flame, Part 1. Or Fuel the Eternal Flame, Part 1. The transformation of a mortal creature into demon is a laggard and gradual process, one that can take eons to transpire without the catalyst of Argenta intervention. The victim is left to maunder in the Shadowland for years uncounted, where over ageless time they transform into demon. During their nightmarish journey, the ethereal soul slowly drains from the body, and in the dark realm, the substance of mortal life is manifest as matter. It gathers in pools of volatile aura found all over hell. Demonkind call these pools the Well, and use them to invigorate themselves for battle. It is from this aura that the essence is formed. By melding it with wraith energy, that which lights the darkened hall and sets the sentinel sword ablaze, the essence is founded. The combining of these primal energies creates Argent energy, a power source so potent, so incalculably formidable, that it has consumed the Argenta and driven us on to greater influence than was ever possible with wraith power alone. Necroval, Part 2. This is one of the soul spires identified in the Argenta text, built into the central columns of Necroval. Although most soul spires were linked directly to Argentinor through a Hell Priest created continuum gate, this particular one is linked to Urdak, the home world of the Makers. There is no continuum gate here, presumably due to the Khan Maker's natural distrust for those under her charge. The soul spires were designed by the Makers to accelerate the processing of mortal victims into Argent energy, and built in secret by Sentinel slaves under the direction of the Order Deeg. This forced labor was a crucial step in fulfilling the Khan Maker's desire for Argent, as beings from Urdak are unable to cross over to Hell's dimension. Fuel the Eternal Flame, Part 2. The Maker's needs for the essence is prime. Without it, they must suffer the monstrous fate of transfiguration and see their wisdom and faculties slither from their twisted forms. By the bidding of the Khan Maker herself, the Order of the Dig has devised a method to improve and accelerate the production of the Hell Aura. What once took eons for the savage beast to attain can now be accomplished in short order by Argenta's intellect and with greater efficiency and consistency. We constructed the Soul Spires, vast halls erected in the Savage Lands by our slaves and under direction of the Order. Even though we raised a monument on their ground, demonkind does not harry us during assembly of the Soul Spires, for the Khan Maker herself bartered a deal with the Dark Lord that rules over the Shadow Walkers. A bargain was struck. The demons would be given fresh worlds and souls to consume, bolstering their forces and expanding the corrupting domain of Hell, and the Makers would be granted access to the flow of Argent. The procedure inside the Soul Spires is thus. The captives are tortured until no semblance of humanity remains within them. Bereft of hope, the mortal soul is vulnerable and can be easily extracted. This we achieve with a machine from the enlightened mind of the Khan Maker herself, the Evulsor. Once the Evulsor has done its deed and the soul has been extracted, the victim's body is ejected into the wasteland there, where, as before our cunning meddling, it becomes demon over time. Fuel the Eternal Flame, Part 3. We gather the volatile aura and store it in vast reservoirs. There it is coalesced with wraith energy and subjected to the infernal fires of hell itself. In the heat of the primal fire, the essence is loosened and captured for our gain. The final stage of the process is the dividend of the gains. Vast quantities of the essence are fed directly to Argentinor to power our machine and drive our engine. The rest is reserved for the Khan Maker. Though she may never set foot in the Dark Realm, she has devised means to teleport essence to the Holy Land, that which she calls Urdak, the domain of angels. Her use of the essence is unchallenged, for it was she and her court that gave us design to capture the essence, and her payment is just. The Icon of Sin. As it is written in the prophecies of ancient Sentinel scripture, the Titans, towering elder demons of the infernal age, would return, unearthed from their immortal slumber. The Titans are believed to be harbingers of the end times, primordial forces of chaos and destruction. Born from the tortured spirit of the betrayer's son, it was by Hell's unholy design that the Icon of Sin was given flesh. The fearsome Titan, forged from the essence of mortal suffering, once bore a human soul, a soul now transmogrified and entombed within the still beating heart of its former self. The betrayer, seeking to free his son from eternal torment within the depths of hell, made an agreement, a pact sealed by the black fates of darkness, that promised to grant his son the chance to return from death. The son would live again, but not as human. In hell's endless cruelty, the son was damned to become the icon, an inhumane existence bound only to its former humanity by the now disembodied, undying mortal heart. Thankfully, these look like there might not be much left. Hopefully, I slogged through most of the most of the heavy stuff. Erdak. This is Erdak, the home world of the Makers. A brief age analysis of the structures and architecture here indicates that this world is older than any other in our database. Similarities can also be drawn to the multiple pan-galactic religions, indicating that the Makers' influence was not limited to Argentinur, and that over eons their influence is spread across the galaxy and potentially the universe. Some imagery is akin to religious icons in the Orion Cygnus arm of the Milky Way, an area which includes Earth. The name Erdak is common tongue in the Maker language, but can be approximately translated to the word for paradise or heaven in hundreds of different languages, further cementing the theory that the Makers have had a religious impact on mortal beings for millions of years. Despite their seeming godliness, the Makers have a past. At some point in their ageless history, there was mention of the Father, a logical alien entity that endowed the Makers with their vast knowledge and technical ability. Analysis of Maker artifacts in Scripture indicate that the Father may have been a singular being that split to form the Maker race, or instead transferred his incalculable power into the vast structure known as Erdak, which then birthed the Makers in perpetuity. Is that what? That's what Vega was talking about. It seems that the Makers, though exceptionally long-lived, eventually suffer from some form of biological and mental degradation, at which point they undergo a process known as the transfiguration, wherein they allow a voluntary death and resurrection somehow tied to the Father. This process may have been complicated or damaged in the recent past. There are no records of how the Father came to the Makers, when it was first discovered, or if it had any physical form before the Makers. The first mention of the Father is in regard to a building named the Luminarium. It was a temple of sorts where Makers would go to seek answers. The essence of the Father was stolen by one of their own, by a Maker referred to as the Seraphim. Who the Seraphim is, or what he did with the Father's consciousness is unknown. Records show that one day the Luminarium simply ceased to communicate, and that a deep scan of its databanks revealed no remaining trace of the entity. Erdak itself exists in an anchor state, utilizing highly advanced dimensional shift technology to allow a static position at a subquantum level. This essentially inverts their position in relation to Hell. Both planets of existence are fixed outside the bounds of the known universe, a lower and higher reality. The Khan Maker oversees all within Erdak and now utilizes Argent energy to prevent the transfiguration. I really didn't picture that as heaven. Khan Maker. Oh, this is the story of the Makers. Every 10,000 years, the collective Maker consciousness, known as the Singularity, births a Khan Maker, a supreme being destiny-bound to lead all of Erdak until the next Khan is born. Oh. The Singularity, which contains the conscious soul data of every Maker that has ever lived and died, processes and refines its data as a means of selective evolution. As hierarch of the conscious neural matrix to which each Maker is interconnected, it is physically impossible for a Maker to refuse the collective order of shared consciousness and disobey a Khan. This system has functioned without error since the creation of Erdak until now. With the disappearance of the Father, the Makers are incapable of creating a successor to the Khan lineage, allowing the existing Khan to hold her claim to the throne indefinitely. Maker Angels. These revered figures serve as speakers for the Khan Maker, earning positions of leadership and high esteem within their species. Angels of Erdak are gifted with orator rings, golden halos fused to their armor as a symbol of their status and rank. These divine beings occasionally gather in conclaves or at the summons of the Khan Maker, but typically do not work together, instead being assigned as independent advisors and overseers amongst Maker-controlled worlds. Did we fight those? I might have. That's a pretty wicked looking helmet. I like it. Ah, here we go. We're getting into the demons now. Yeah! But I am going to take another short break. I didn't say anything about the first time, but this time I'm going to take another one. I ran out of water. I'm going to go get me a couple bottles. Going to leave them in here. I'm going to take a short break, come back. Of course, you're not going to see that. It's just going to jump cut. But just let you know. Take another break. Let my voice rest. Still the same day that I beat the game, so still pretty rough. But anyways, as soon as we get this jump cut, we're right back. Anytime now. Future me. All right. I'm back, guys and gals. I got some water. Very short break. I pretty much just got like 3 bottles of water. Doesn't rest my throat too much, so I'll just keep on going. Now we're on to the demons. Zombies. Possessed by the influence of hell, these once unhuman underlings that follow in hell's ranks are those that have been corrupted and deceived by its power, but forsaking their own humanity. Those who have fully succumbed to hell's control cannot be saved, becoming mindless, grotesque contortions of their former selves. Now we have the imp. Use bullet weapons to stop the imp in its tracks. Use these weak demons to farm for resources. Huh. Weak to bullets, apparently. Scavengers of the underworld, imps are among the most common of beasts found on the scorched surface of the hellscape. Lesser demons of hell, the imp possesses limited intelligence, driven only by a hunter's impulse to seek out prey, a task for which the imp is naturally suited due to its innate capacity for violence. As a result of these attributes, the imp makes for an ideal foot soldier and is oft deployed in the warring legions of hell, easily manipulated and controlled by commanding highborn demons at the behest of the sovereign chapters. It is common for the imp to appear at the front line of an offensive attack, an expendable resource unleashed in great numbers to overcome and break through the enemy front. Soldiers. Weakness, shells, a point-blank blast from a shotgun will stagger. A blaster soldier. Plasma rifle. Plasma rifle can overload energy shield and trigger an explosion. Yeah. Blood punch. Blood punch can instantly destroy the energy shield. Once frontline infantry fighting to protect Earth from the demon invasion, the Hell soldiers have been claimed by darkness, turning them against their fellow soldiers in the midst of battle. Gargoyle. Blasted out of midair to instantly trigger a stagger. Like their imp brethren, the gargoyle is an agile, relentless pack hunter. Native to the Sentinel world, this beast has plagued the Sentinel Guard for centuries, as one of the few demon breeds that could bypass the wall defenses of Sentinel Prime. The gargoyle could appear without warning and claim hapless townspeople before disappearing into the wasteland. Only the most skilled marksmen of the Night Sentinels could intercept this aerial threat, a peril which demanded an ever-vigilant watch over the city's perimeter. Lost Soul. Shells. Shoot it with a shotgun to send it flying, causing a delayed explosion. Weakness of Ice Bomb. Ice Bomb will instantly kill a Lost Soul. Did not know that. The Lost Soul has its origin among the damned, former humans who have fallen from the mortal world, doomed to an unliving eternity as sin-branded slaves of hell. The damned are seemingly endless in number, their populations growing by the thousands with each rise of the black sun. For many, the torturous existence of crushing slave labor is all that awaits. The bodies of the damned are brittle, and those who become broken in labor, their bodies ruined, dismembered, and otherwise incapable of servitude, are transported to the pits where their souls must be extracted for further use. Those fortunate enough to escape this process are what inevitably become lost souls, their spirits transmogrified into physical form. The lost soul knows only madness, its memory a haunted image of its former mortal life. These creatures live a fleeting existence, roaming mindlessly, seeking only that which can grant them a final death. Maker drones. Their thick hide mitigates damage, yeah. Weak point head. Headshot, kill, drop, a lot of resources. I milked that hard. Erdak's population is mainly comprised of drones, beings that exist as extensions of the Khan Maker's will. Though each is endowed with their own unique identity, they remain biologically unable to resist a command from their Khan, and so function in a perfectly synchronized colony system. They still went down like dominoes. Drones never leave Erdak, their bodies not yet mature enough to avoid harm while crossing dimensions. Heavy monsters. Arachnotron. Weak point turret. Destroy the gun turret to completely disable the weapon. Yeah. Arachnotrons are built with genetic material recovered from the remains of the original Spider Mastermind. Olivia Pierce? Bioengineered for cyber augmentation. While its actual body exhibits only limited mobility, the oddly cerebral qualities of the arachnotron make it a prime candidate for the impulse-controlled prosthetic frame that it now permanently inhabits. The UAC facility responsible for the arachnotron's creation, intending to engineer and weaponize demons from their own design, was overrun after an outbreak occurred inside of its assembly plant, killing everyone inside. The facility, still operating under the directive of the administrative AI, continues to manufacture arachnotrons autonomously. These ones actually have images to view. The Cacodemon. Hunters of the Slothlands, the Cacodemon lurks the bottomless and murky depths of hell in search of easy prey. An aimless wanderer, the Cacodemon is mostly devoid of cognitive ability, sensory awareness, and otherwise commonly occurring impulses. Driven only by a singular desire to feed, the Cacodemon is likely to appear wherever there is flesh to be consumed, bringing with it an insatiable propensity for hunger. It is said that the Cacodemon bears some resemblance to the cycloptic titans of ancient hell lore, leading Sentinel scholars to believe that the forgotten titans may yet live on in some disembodied form. Yeah, put a grenade in their mouth. Explosive. Fire a sticky bomb or frag grenade into its mouth to trigger stagger. Weakness ballista. The ballista does bonus damage to flying demons. Yeah, I never did use the ballista too much. Weakness plasma rifle. Plasma rifle can overload energy shield and trigger an explosion. Weakness blood punch. Blood punch can instantly destroy the energy shield. The carcass. These guys were annoying too. One sip at a time. The project of inhuman biomechanical engineering, the carcass was created in the remote labs of the cultist enclave. Neither truly living nor dead, exists in a state of partial reanimation, its cybernetic armature simulating a living impulse within a decaying organic husk. Ew. Devised as a means of extending a soldier's usefulness in combat after death, the unliving host can only be destroyed by severing the body from its cybernetic implants. That's a heavy. Cyber Mancubus. Ugh. Blood punch weakness. Blood punch will deal massive damage and destroy its armor. General tip: the arm cannons can be reinforced or have been reinforced, cannot be destroyed by damage. A chest glory kill will trigger an explosion that damages nearby demons. Huh. Did not know that. Mechanized and heavily augmented, the Cyber Mancubus is equipped for frontline warfare. Equipped with dual-barreled arm-mounted mortar cannons, the Mancubus's integrated weapon system utilizes the body's naturally occurring biotoxins, refining this corrosive, viscous membrane into a toxoplasmoid ammunition feed. Siphoned from the spinal gland and funneled intravenously to the weapon conversion system, the corrosive secretion is discharged by an alternating firing mechanism, which dispenses the toxoplasmid as either heated projectile or ignited fluid, the latter resulting in a flamethrower-like incendiary spray capable of burning through armored plating. Ew. Dread Knight. A chain gun can quickly falter this demon. A variation of the Hell Knight breed, the Dread Knight has been modified and hardwired for aggression. Armed with an exoprosthesis powering energy blade augments, the Dread Knight is the lethal result of the UAC cultist engineering. Epinephrine regulators modulate the Death Knight with an unbroken flow of rage-addled adrenaline, while its endorphin receptors have been synchronized to respond with the use of its arm-mounted blades. With each kill, the Dread Knight is injected with a flood of artificial dopamine. As a result of its augmentation, the Dread Knight is driven by a biochemically engineered state of pure, unbroken rage, a suffering for which respite can only be found in the act of the kill. Hell Knight, the chain gun could quickly falter this demon. I did not know that. I would have used the chain gun more if I had read these. I'm an idiot. I should be reading this shit as I get it. The Hell Knight, warrior beast among demons, has earned its place over the millennia in service of the eternal archdemons. As imposed by the sovereign houses, Hell Knights have long served as barbaric enforcers of the netherworld, impelling lesser demons by way of brutality. Rare among demonkind for its innate regard for primal orders of the hierarchy, the Hell Knight exhibits adherence to the prevailing rule of its demon lord masters. Requiring little compulsion on behalf of its highborn masters, Hell Knights readily serve the elder gods for the extent of their lifespans, reaping great satisfaction in the way of war and desecration. The elder gods? This sounds more like Mortal Kombat stuff again. The Mancubus, weak point, arm cannons. Destroy the arm cannons, disable its flamethrower attack, and debilitate its cannon attacks. General tip, chest glory kill will trigger an explosion that damages... Oh, wow, cool. The Mancubus, hulking behemoth of the demon world, bears notable difference from those of its kind first encountered by the USC expedition team on Mars. Unlike its brethren, which wore a naturally occurring armored carapace, this variation shows clear signs of pre-existing man-made modifications. Armor plating augmentation to its exterior and its sophisticated arm-mounted weapons system indicate a clear intent to upgrade and weaponize the fighting capacity of the Mancubus, whose heavy stature and resilience make it a formidable threat in battle. Ew. Pain Elemental. The ballista does bonus damage to flying demons. Oh man, that was rough. Excuse me. An abhorrent creation of the umbral planes, the Pain Elemental is descended from the primal, abominable depths of the demon world. Knowing only its own torment, the elemental is cursed to forge lost souls within the fiery pit of its gut, a process that is excruciating and without end for the duration of the creature's miserable lifespan. The elemental's only reprieve from its own agonizing and torturous existence is the projection of suffering into the world. For this reason, the Pain Elemental reaps great satisfaction from indiscriminate killing and the infliction of misery upon those weaker than itself. Pinky! Shoot it in the back to do massive damage, weakness, blood punch. Blood punch will kill a Pinky in one shot. What? As hell emerged on Earth, the Pinky began to appear on terrestrial soil in great number, rapidly becoming the bane of existence to Ark military fortifications. Utilizing the armored frontal carapace, the Pinky is able to penetrate defensive encampments, breaking through walled defenses and using its ramming ability to upturn and immobilize armored vehicles. Ark deployments, depending on their ability to hold the line against encroaching forces of hell, could be disrupted and even overtaken by a single Pinky, were it able to penetrate and break through their defensive matrix, allowing a greater demon influx to pour in after it. The Ark rapidly prioritized the target status of the Pinky, issuing high-range bombardment to prevent the Pinky from gaining proximity. Yeah, you gotta blast that tail, dude. The Prowler. These are the guys I thought were the Archviles at first, I think. Freeze it with the ice bomb to temporarily prevent teleportation. Creature of darkness, the Prowler hunts from the shadows, preferring stealth and concealment to open conflict. Imbued with parietal infravision, the Prowler is able to see that which is unseen to the naked eye. Known among the Sentinels as the Night Stalker, the Prowler's preternatural sense of sight makes it a lethal hunter, capable of tracking its prey even into pitches black of dark. Believing to be peripherally descendant to the lesser imp brooding, the Prowler is rarely seen in groups, forsaking pack hunting for the precision of solitary pursuit. Revenant. Weak point launchers. Destroy the shoulder launchers to disable rocket attacks. More vulnerable when in the air. Huh. Dash and double jump will break the rocket log on. The Revenant program, a bioweapon experiment utilizing reanimated necrotic human tissue, was believed to have been destroyed with the collapse of the UAC facility on Mars. However, the emergence of the occultist enclaves on Earth, former UAC deviations now under Hell's direct control, had begun work on a second wave of production of the Revenant program. While much of the platform's existing weapon payload is preserved as originally designed, the cyber neural programming has undergone modification. Pattern signals are wired to the host's frontal cortex, where in turn simulate a state of frenzied, unrestrained bloodlust. While these signals are active, the host is incapable of thinking or feeling anything but a singular compulsion to inflict death and violence on the living. Spectre. The ice bomb will break the cloaking behavior, allowing lock-on weapons to work. Oh. Wish I had known that. Not like I needed it anyways. Born from an ancient screed of forbidden psychomancy, it was by the Tamic inscriptions of the occultic six sealed eyes that the specter was made manifest. Oh my god, do you need to make any more hard words? Divined in desecrated ruins untouched by light for an eternity, warlocks of an abandoned sovereign house unearthed the verboten scripture, seeking rebellion by means of black magic against the rule of the infernal archdemons. By way of sorcery were numerous abominations and ungodly forms brought forth into the hellscape, among them the specter, ethereal amalgam of the Pinky. For their role in these miscreations, the archdemons would enact as retribution against its insurgents an unspeakable punishment, a decree of suffering that would be without end. Whiplash. Freeze it with the ice bomb to temporarily stop it from slithering. I didn't really have that much of an issue with Whiplash, other than it hit like a Mack truck. A scavenger of the hellscape, the Whiplash creature was first discovered by UAC expedition teams in the black desert of the Sanctum Wastelands. These elusive serpentine demons move with great speed and agility. They are capable of striking from a great distance with retractable bladed whips concealed within their forearms. This particular demon breed became an object of great interest to the UAC engineers on Earth, while attempts to capture live specimens of this nimble and unpredictable creature proved to be exceptionally dangerous. After successfully acquiring living specimens, researchers implanted cybernetic augmentations designed to enhance the Whiplash's innate strength and lethality. What a dick. Ah, super heavies. Archvile. Blood Punch can instantly destroy its shield. The Archvile is vulnerable while summoning Falter them to instantly gib the incoming demons. Yeah. Forged from Hellfire, the Archvile is feared among lesser demons for its innate ability to channel and manipulate the unholy powers of hell magic. Descended from the eldest race of demons, the Archvile has long held a place within the ruling caste of highborn demon kind. Possessing superior intellect among the demon ranks, the Archvile's psychomancy powers make it a natural-born ruler of the savage and primitive beasts of hell, capable of bending weak-minded underlings to serve its will. Baron of Hell, Chenga. The Chenga can quickly falter. Again, I could have used this information. Past me, you suck so hard. I made that game intentionally hard, didn't I? The Fireborn Barons have evolved descendant clan of the Baron Hellbreed, and are indigenous to the caustic, scorched hellscapes bordering the burning abyss. A landscape of cragged spires forged from unbreakable black stone, tempered by the crashing waves of magmatic tide. These sulfuric plains of hell have long served as banishing grounds, a place of exodus to which the damned are sentenced as their final destination. The Fireborn Barons have evolved in this environment, sustaining themselves on the remnants of the damned, growing obsidian carapaces, and in time becoming infused with the very incendiary matter of hell itself. Doom Hunter, weak point sled. Destroy the sled to permanently disable its shielding and lock on rocket attacks. Yeah, that was a bitch and a half to do. Weakness cells. Use cell weapons to take down their shields, temporarily exposing them to extra damage. Weakness, Blood Punch. Blood Punch deals major damage to the sled. Dash and double jump, break rocket lock on. Once a race of beast-like hunters, the Doom Hunter creature was known to Sentinel warriors in ages past as lethal stalkers of the Metal Age. Extracted from the frozen... pull attention. Doom Hunter belongs to an ancient race uncovered during cultist excavation in the remote Arctic. Preserved below the frozen ice for millions of years, the unearthed remains of this creature were deemed suitable for reconstruction, becoming the subject of cultist necroregenerative bioexperimentation. Within the remote cultist citadel, a high-tech ritual altar which towers over the Golgothan ruins, the Doom Hunter was ceremoniously and systematically resurrected and rebuilt. While the majority of its components are now cybernetic, it retains a high degree of mental faculty, a sentient, brutal hunting instinct augmented by the armaments of tank division. Did I read that already? I feel like I read that. Oh, wait. A green flash indicates that they are vulnerable to and cannot block, so time your shots. The Marauder cannot block while faltering, so strike fast before it recovers. Well, faltered. Don't waste ammo trying to break through the shield when it's active. I did that so much. Yeah, I read that one, so I'm not going to read that one again. Haha, the Tyrant. Well-timed double jump or dash needed to evade the Seeker Wave. Tyrant is slow to turn. Use this to your advantage. Demon Lords to the Black Soul Pits of Babel. The Tyrants have long served as wardens and slavers of the infernal pits. Weaponized and cybernetically altered by the UAC, the Tyrants are tasked with overseeing the collection and extraction of sin-branded human souls from the mortal world. Their role in hell, ordained by the unholy sigil of the elder hell gods. A sadistic master of lesser demons, the Tyrants are feared for their cruelty and malice. That's the Cyber Demon, just with a different name. If demons are glowing red, a buff totem is active. Oh, I hate these buff totems. If a buff totem is active, seek it out and destroy it immediately. A buff totem will continue to spawn demons until it is destroyed. Yeah. Incarnal manifestations of human suffering, these totems are formed from the tortured resonance of the once living made flesh by the black arts of demonic psychomancy. A beacon of necroplasmic darkwave energy, the buff totem, once fully formed, radiates the surrounding environment with a dark cloud of hell magic. This energy possesses influence of great power for anything living caught in its wake. Demons, while in its presence, become adrenalized. Their aggressiveness and bloodlust amplified. Inversely, these totems have become symbols of fear for humans who have encountered them, its presence tainting the mind with nightmarish terror. The propagation of these totems would ultimately necessitate the development of the Arc Mind Shield, a cyber neural implant which could immunize its soldiers from the psionic properties of the buff totem. Cue ball. Shoot this demon in the direction you want it to fly. Hit a demon with a cue ball to trigger a massive explosion. Former UAC engineers, these malformed zombies were rendered inept during the war for Earth. Their bodies are now a disturbing fusion of body, bone, and barrel. Tentacle. Not every tentacle hole has one inside. I hated these fucking things too. The subject of great scrutiny for ARC scientists on Earth, these hell growth formations have appeared all over the planet, taking hold wherever hell has made its presence known, forming chaotic, seemingly random structural patterns. The propagation of hell growth has taken root at an alarming rate, exhibiting a cellular reproduction cycle that ARC scientists fear may become impossible to contain. The resultant environmental effect is extremely hostile to terrestrial life, producing atmospheric biocontagions and a multitude of organic hazards. Wherever these nest-like formations emerge, they are protected by swaths of defensive tendrils, long thorn tentacles that demonstrate keen awareness of their surroundings, fully capable of disemboweling anything that is deemed to be a potential threat to the nest. Just like them Japanese animes. Arsenal. Doomblade. Modification to the Praetor suit, the arm-mounted Doomblade is designed to increase the Slayer's short-range striking power. Strong enough to sever demonic flesh and bone, the blade's serrated edge allows the Slayer to break through enemy defenses and attack where conventional weaponry is ineffective. You only use it in glory kills. The Ballista. The weapon of choice for Sentinel marksmen. It is said in Sentinel battle lore that a single battalion of archers defended the walled city of Ilkana for 10 days and 10 nights, armed only with their ballistas. A precise weapon, the ballista fires a twin beam of superheated argent, vaporizing its target on impact. Still wasn't a fan of it. The BFG 9000. My baby. The BFG 9000 remains the most powerful weapon ever designed by the UAC. Wasn't the 10,000 better, though? Releasing a projectile of pure roiling argent plasma, the sphere of superheated energy undulates as argent tendrils lash out, drawn to nearby organic material and immediately producing a fatal explosion from within. Dr. Samuel Hayden recently deployed the weapon to Phobos, where it served as an inspirational linchpin for the development of the BFG 10,000 defense station. Ugh. Wait a second, how did he get the BFG 9000 from Doom Guy? When mounted inside the station's magnification array, the BFG can be fired into a series of reactive lensing rings. These rings pump a constant stream of gaseous argent throughout the barrel, which ignites in reaction to the electrified plasma, producing a tremendous energy wave powerful enough to crack the surface of a planet. Wink, wink. Chain gun. The M220 chain gun is a 7.62 by 51mm AE 6-barrel autocannon built for infantry deployment. Weighing over 80 pounds, the M220 was conceived as a standard-issued weapon for ARC mech soldiers fitted with extra armor, mechanized suits capable of supporting a heavier payload. The AE cartridge uses a special electromagnetic casing designated specifically for the M220's rail system, which increases projectile velocity and reduces overheating. So basically, I'm using a mech gun as Doom Guy. The chainsaw. As the renowned weapons masters of the Night Sentinels professed, it is the warrior that makes the weapon great. Albeit an unconventional choice, the chainsaw has become a staple for the Doomslayer's personal arsenal. For the kind of work that requires enemy dismemberment, the chainsaw is the right tool for the job. Yeah. Ripped and tore pretty good. Ah, the combat shotgun. Yay, my baby. Despite a wealth of armament options for the modern combat specialist, this trusty workhorse remains a firm favorite among operatives. Me too. When matched against superheated plasmoids or gauze-driven projectiles, the ballistic impact of the combat shotgun holds its own. The simplicity of the design ensures the weapon is extremely quick and reliable, yet the vast array of ammunition types make it versatile and flexible. Colloquially known as the crowd appeaser, a locked and loaded combat shotgun will pacify even the most riotous of assailants. The Crucible. A sacred relic of the Sentinel people, the Crucible remains one of the most mysterious artifacts known to man. Texts from Argent Denor reference the weapon as a revered righteous manner, while Night Sentinels were known to employ similar energy-based blades in their armaments. The Crucible remains the only one powerful enough to reportedly slay Titan-class demons. Only the Slayer holds knowledge of this venerated sword, for only he has been known to wield it. The blade burns with an ethereal heat, immediately cauterizing flesh as it slices through. Yeah, that was really good. Equipment launcher. Custom built to fit the Doomslayer's Praetor suit, this shoulder-mounted ordnance system was modified to serve a variety of combat roles. Designed as a universal munitions platform, the equipment launcher is capable of altering its armament configuration with the press of a switch, activated by a reflex sensor located in the interior of a Praetor suit's gauntlet. In its flame belch configuration, the launcher spits a gout of fire exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius, setting even the sturdiest of demons aflame. While in its grenade launcher configuration, the launcher fires a traditional UAC model frag explosive, a projectile-based payload not dissimilar to that of the ice bomb, wherein the launcher fires an IC-40 gas canister to flash freeze nearby targets. Heavy cannon. This one was fun too. A common complaint among users of this punch-packing conventional weapon is the weight, as most of the component parts are forged in tungstranium. So, wow, that's tungsten and uranium, maybe? A proprietary alloy developed to withstand the enormous stresses imparted by the optional exploding dart ammunition. However, the additional weight makes the heavy cannon an ideal sniper rifle, as swaying and tremors are mitigated by the massive bulk. By the massive bulk. Trigger management is of the highest priority when using this weapon, as self-inflicted gunshot wounds are common thanks to its no-pull reflex trigger system. Yeah, I've hurt myself a couple times with them rockets. Plasma rifle. This one was interesting. Designed by the UAC's Military Tech Division, the plasma rifle is the standard in energy-based weaponry. Firing a superheated plasma in rapid short burst intervals, the plasma rifle is capable of overloading energy-based shielding and liquefying enemy combatants. Rocket launcher. Not something I used very often. Only when I ran out of ammo for the most part or needed more boom. Forged from the metal smelting pits of the Golgothan Enclave, the Pain Giver is a... Oh, it's called the Pain Giver? Good name. The weapon of pure malice devised for a singular purpose, to enact suffering upon the weak. A tool of insidious intent, it was not by mortal design that the Pain Giver was conceived. The cultist engineers of Golgotha, as acolytes of the unholy and all-powerful will of the hell priest Rannoch, were bestowed its vision, scribes to Rannoch's dark premonition. Ugh. With great clarity did the Pain Giver reveal itself to the shared consciousnesses of the Golgothan acolytes, and with fervor and religious zealotry did they set themselves towards its manifestation, toiling without rest until the Pain Giver was created. Super shotgun. Of course, this one's going to have a lot of stuff to it. A weapon from the Slayer's past, this double-barreled shotgun displays ornate, undeciphered filigree carvings. It also includes a modification, a twin-pronged hook anchored with a retractable chain designed for underbarrel usage. Though the firearm appears to be of earthly design, the meat hook attachment is comprised of non-terra metals, suggesting some level of prior history off-world. Its place in the Slayer's arsenal in Hell has already been recorded, as noted in the following translation from the Ungmar Codex. The sting of the Slayer's abominable arsenal casts fear into the lowest of our kin. Its blazing barrels of brimstone spew his vitriol and loathing upon us, and cast our brethren into the dirt. Mark the venom of his chosen apparatus of agony, the diabolical musket, Lucifer's bane. Its claw of pig iron gouging the flesh of the martyr and hurrying him upon us. Curse the name of his beloved treasure. Curse the hell walker's device of torment. We shall cast it into the smelter and gild his entrails with the slurry. Wow, I like that threat. That threat is pretty metal. The Unmaker, another weapon. I never even touched the Unmaker. A uniquely powerful weapon, the Unmaker is kept under lock and key inside the Fortress of Doom. Inspired by Sentinel weapon technology, this celestial firearm was created in Urdak by the ingenious invention of the makers themselves. Upon activation of the weapon shutter parts slide open, and the Unmaker immediately begins launching rapid-fire volleys of condensed tri-directional argent bolts. The destructive potential of this alien superweapon is rivaled only by the BFG. Oh, these are tutorials. Huh. Huh. Yeah, yeah, we did that one. Secrets. Let's see if there's any that I didn't read. Yeah, I didn't read this one. This was the cue. Unlocking a powerful artifact. Or I might have read it without actually, thinking about it. Oh, Jesus. The only thing about that, it doesn't show you how fast it eats through the ammo. I'm trying to see if there's any ones that I didn't understand, or didn't read, or didn't catch. Two gladiator. Oh yeah, the con maker. That was a fun fight. Killing with a power-up extends duration. I kind of figured that was true. Onslaught increases the damage of each shot. That was pretty much quad damage. Overdrive increases movement speed and gives infinite ammo. Berserk allows players to instantly rip and tear any demon. They did not give... Well, I'm going to say this. They did not give enough of these power-ups. There should have been more of these, in my opinion. They only it was like a tease what they gave. Fast travel allows you to teleport to predetermined points on the map. Use it to find additional items and complete additional counters. Fast travel unlocks near the end of a mission. Okay, frag grenade, flame belch, ice bomb, sentinel crystals, blood punch. Okay. Bloodlust. Glory kills on heavy demons will now instantly charge a blood punch. Huh. Wish I'd known that. Blood stack. 2 blood punches stacks can now be charged. Secret encounters. Blech. Slayer key. Yeah, I ended up with like what, 6 extra points. I love that BFG. And the Crucible was fun too. Yow. Oh, I wanted to be able to split a pinky right down the middle like that. That'd have been awesome. Now, if only they would have showed us Cyber Demon or the Tyrant. Game complete. Last thing. Let's go ahead and see what we can fill. Alrighty. So I did that. I didn't max everything out, but I did pretty good. But for now, I believe that is all for Doom Eternal. I might do a multiplayer showing. I don't know. If there's DLC, I will be doing it. So, for now, that's it for this game. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to go ahead and give me a thumbs up by hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed, people with the content. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the game and what I have done in my playthrough. And I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Later. Oh yeah, I forgot to let you guys... I forgot to get you guys this portion. Oh. Probably be a good idea to put my microphone over. I was doing a lot of post stuff, so I moved my microphone so I wouldn't slap it. But anyways, this was my missing log. Dr. Elena Richardson, log 1. This is Dr. Elena Richardson, log entry 002. Subject analysis of Doomslayer, January 24th, 2163. There is no chance that the subject is a demon. We have blood samples pulled from the Mars base event that show his blood type is AB positive. He is male with a genome that makes him very much a member of the human race, but the enhanced strength, speed, and athleticism would indicate otherwise. We can see from the blood samples that there are foreign bodies present of unknown origin. I cannot, as a contributing member of the scientific community, agree with the assumption by some of my colleagues that he is, for lack of a better word, a god. An avenging angel, the right hand of doom, here to save humanity from its sins, but I cannot ignore that the timing of his arrival, the identity of his enemies, the fire and brimstone element to this catastrophe we currently find ourselves in has definitely shaken my scientific resolve. But anyways, that's all for that one, folks. Later.